You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor, and today on our Training Thursday show, we're going to get into abs, lower back, and core training done right. So essentially, everyone that I know of at least wants a strong core, they want a tight core, they want a small waist, and they want to make sure that they don't have any lower back pain, right? That's really important. Is I would say that 8 out of the 10 people that I see in my practice at some point or another in their life have had lower back pain. They've had either stiffness there or immobility, or maybe they've thrown their back out. And so I think we're moving a little bit away from just looking for six-pack abs and understanding that the core is something that's going to keep you, I would say, more active later in life as well. Because if your core is strong and it's the powerhouse, it's the center of your body, you're going to be able to play with your kids, your grandkids, you're going to be less likely to get injured, you can play golf, you can play tennis, you do all the things that you want to do that you are literally not able to do. It holds you back if your core isn't strong enough. So let's talk about some of those benefits right now, meaning like if you have a strong core, yes, we talked a little bit about less back pain. Well, why is that? It's because the muscles in the core, and so think of your core as this. It's literally everything directly below your chest. And so that includes your abs, right? It includes what people call the love handles on the side. Under those, the obliques. It includes the lower back muscles, but it also includes all of the muscles in your hips. And a lot of people forget about like the psoas. Well, that's connected. That's part of the core. So when people have what's called tight psoas muscles or tight hip flexors that you might have heard before, that affects their core and it affects their core mobility. So they're not as mobile, which just means that they can't move as easily. They get more stiff if those muscles are tight. So the benefit is, if those muscles aren't as stiff, aren't as tight, and the muscles of the core, meaning like the abs, the obliques, the lower back, are strong, you're able to keep better posture. And if you can keep better posture, things stay in alignment. And if everything's in alignment, that means it's doing its job properly. And if it's doing its job properly, you're less likely then to get injured. So you can see it's this big kinetic chain. All of it matters. It really does. I'm going to get into it today, but literally from the ground up, like how your feet and ankles function affects the joint above it. So it would affect your calves and your knees, and then it would affect your hamstrings and hips, and then it affects your lower back. So we actually have to look at the entire body as one connected matrix, and it's so very, very important. Again, that's going to be a topic for another day. But essentially, the benefits of training the core, which means not just your abs, not just doing sit-ups, and I'm going to give you examples in a moment, the benefits of those are so profound that it goes well beyond having a good-looking midsection. Now, yes, training your core will give you a smaller waist. It absolutely will give you a smaller waist. It will give you a tighter waist. And it will also give you better posture, which means you'll stand up straighter, which means your stomach won't protrude as much. Because a lot of times I see, happens more in guys than it does girls, but I shouldn't say that, but maybe it's 50-50, but a lot of the guys I see, they just train their abs too much and they're seated too much essentially during the day at their desk. And what happens is they get these tight hip flexors, they're training their abs too much, and their stomach, even if they might have abs, their stomach actually sticks out a little bit. And when it sticks out, it makes them look like they almost have like a little pot belly. And that is not the ideal goal, right, of training your abs or having a nice strong core. So what we look at is we look at balance, and that's about training your lower back and your abdominal muscles and your obliques. So let's talk about that. Before we get into examples, why does the core get weak? Well, the core gets weak from too much sitting. So when we sit during the day, we are allowing our core essentially to relax. We just kind of hunch over the desk or over our car steering wheel. We hold onto the wheel or we put our elbows on the desk or anything like that, and that just allows everything just to kind of go, like you just drop everything down. Everything gets weak and relaxed. And the other part of it is, Besides that, when we're doing a lot of human movement after we've been sitting for a while, we don't re-engage the core. So we start to compensate with other muscles, and those muscles might be like the quads or the chest or, kind of the muscles in the front of the body that shouldn't be working as much. Even when we walk, we're not engaging our core muscles as much. We're not engaging our glutes as much, which is why the core gets weak and the stomach kind of sticks out, and your glutes get weak, which is why the butt starts to sag, right? So these are all things that happen as those muscles become inactive. So I'd say one other big component of this is that if your hips are tight, and most people's are, and if your hamstrings are tight, it misaligns your core. And a lot of times what that means is your hips start to get tilted forward. Your lower back starts to sway. That's called a lordosis or a lordotic curve in the lower back. And then your shoulders start to round forward. So these are all things that happen when your core starts to get weak as well. That's why you can't just fix your posture. Like people try to pull their shoulders back. Well, that's great, but your shoulders need to rest upon something, and that's a strong core. You're not going to be able to pull your shoulders back if they don't have a strong core, which is directly below it, to support it, right? So your foundation is so important. So that's why you have to strengthen your legs, which then above it is your core, your glutes and your core, and then above that is your shoulders. So really, in the long run, if you ever want to have good posture, you have to work on stretching open the hips, and you have to work on strengthening that core. So I'd say that people, the questions I get the most is, well, how do I train my core and how often should I do it? All right. So we have to look at is that training your core is not doing ab crunches, meaning like if you're doing sit-ups or crunches, that's training your abdominal muscles, and it is activating a little bit of what's called the TVA, the transverse abdominis. Those are the muscles that you can't see, and that really the stronger muscles of the core that kind of wraps everything in tight. It's like your internal weight belt, so that you don't need to rely on a weight belt when you do lift. So that's fine, but the problem is that we also then, we're crunching too much forward, right? We're already hunched forward during the day. We're in our seats, we're driving. So now we need something to open us back up, which means that with all of that crunching and those ab-based exercises, we also need to do our lower back. We need to open up. So Superman's or Superwoman's is a great exercise. Bridging's a fantastic exercise. The wheel, which is in yoga where you're lying on your back and you put your hands behind your head, your feet below your knees, and you push up. So it's almost like you're forming like a tabletop. And that opens up your hip flexors on the front, opens up your abs, and it squeezes your glutes, your hamstrings, and your lower back. Really a fantastic exercise. Even if you don't perfect it right now, you can still work on it. And for my clients who aren't even close to being able to do a wheel, and you can look up what a wheel is, literally what I do is I put them over a stability ball. So they're lying on top of a stability ball. They walk their feet out until they can put their hands on the floor behind them. And they just practice pushing off of the stability ball, and the ball is basically their support structure under them. So the other thing is that none of the ab exercises are specifically needed if you want a strong, tight core. What you do need to do is really be cognizant during your regular exercises, like a standing shoulder press or a standing abdominal chest press or a one-arm row or any exercise that you're not supporting yourself in a seat, which is why I highly recommend doing more functional-based exercises that you're not seated, because during every single one of those exercises, you're engaging your core. If not, you would typically fall over, you'd lose your balance. So again, your core is working during every exercise. All right, that leads me to my next point, which is this, is that if you're doing specific ab exercise and core exercise, which I'll talk about right now, those should be at the end of your workout, right? So keep your bigger exercises first, your chest presses, shoulder presses, your back lat pull downs or pull ups, and your rows, and then your squats, your deadlifts, your lunges, and step ups. All right, keep those in the beginning of the workout. And then do your core exercise at the end, because those, believe it or not, it's a small amount of muscle, and you don't want to fatigue your core, because that's what supports you during those other exercises that I just named. So it's really important that your core exercises are done towards the end of your workout. And now, what are some of those great core exercises? Well, those great core exercises are chops of any variety, meaning like a rope chop, a bar chop, a cable chop, a band chop. And you can do them with meaning like you can rotate your hips or just resist rotation, right? So a chop where you're resisting rotation is like an isometric exercise for your core. That means it tightens your ab muscles, makes everything really tight and small as you're chopping your arms across your body. Nothing else moves in your body. That's a fantastic exercise. I highly recommend starting there. And then you can do other exercises as well. Like you can do a side plank, you can do a regular plank, a ball plank. All of those, again, great core-based exercises. Start there and then get more advanced. Then you can do like TRX-based exercises, which are great for the core as well. So start with chops, and then if you'd like, again, you can still do your ab exercises. I'm okay with that as long as you keep it balanced with your lower back. I don't like rounding of the lower back, so I don't like a lot of full sit-ups or anything like that. But, again, I train people for all different things, and sometimes we can appropriately put those in a program just for not too many reps. So the takeaway is this: you have to do core for every reason under the sun, even if you don't care about having a six-pack or having a small waist or any of those things, which, again, most people do. But if you're not one of those people, that's okay too, because you want a strong lower back so that you don't get injured, so that you stay more mobile, so that you stay stronger in life in general, which helps you with every single task. It's going to also improve your posture. And when to do these exercises at the end of your workout. It'll only take you about 5 minutes at the most, maybe 10 minutes tops. How many times a week to do that? At the most, I would say 3 times a week you can add them in. So, that's more than enough. I would say 1 to 3 times per week. Because remember, you're working your core if you're doing functional-based exercises like the ones that I recommend. So you could do a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, add on 5 minutes of core at the end if you want to. Absolutely, you could do that. That's what I do with my personal clients, anywhere between 1 and 3 times. I might even give them a core ab workout, lower back workout to do on their own. And again, all during the same workout. You never do abs without your lower back, right? That's very, very important that they stay balanced. And I'll give them that to do after an interval-based workout. So that's a great way to do it too. Or you could do it before. But again, I like to work the core at the very end because you need your core, your ab, your lower back, your obliques, your serratus, your hip flexors, all those things during every exercise that you do. So I don't want to pre-fatigue that, which means I don't want them to be tired when I want you to do that exercise and obviously have your best balance and have your best condition. So this might be less training than you're used to, but I'm telling you right now, you'll get better results. Don't overtrain that areas of your body. Just make sure you're getting it done every time you do exercise, and start to sit up a little taller. That will engage your core. Don't lean over things. Don't rest on things. Try to stand up a little bit more often. And when you do, engage those core muscles, right? Not hold everything tight. Just make sure that those shoulders are pulled back, that your core is supporting you. And at the same time, allow your core to be active by stretching your hip flexors, stretching your hamstrings, and just making sure that everything's mobile, everything's ready to be moved, everything's ready to be worked. When you do that, you're going to get much better results in the gym and outside of the gym. So hopefully this episode helps. Please do feel free to ask any questions you may have. I'd be happy to answer those on our weekend host call editions. And as always, if this show could help anyone you know, please do feel free to forward it to them. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.